Welcome to our Corks in Conversation 2 episode with Elizabeth Breck.
I know, I'm so excited. This is going to be so much fun. We talked with Elizabeth last season about her debut, and it wasn't enough time with her. We couldn't get enough of her, so she's back.
Yes, and not to mention, she has a new book out now called Double Take.
Look at this. So good.
Very nice cover. I'm kind of like matching it. Actually, we're all kind of okay.
We all.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So if you look on YouTube, you can see the reds, the blues, the pinks, the whites. Okay. So anyway, before we even get started, I'm going to remind you guys of her background. She is a state of California licensed private investigator. She's a native Californian. She had read Harriet the Spy 20 times by the time she was 9. So it was no surprise when she grew up to become a PI. She has worked mainly in the field of insurance investigations, making her the real-life version of Sue Grafton's Kinsey Malone. In 2013, she decided to go back to school, earning a bachelor's degree in writing, summa cum laude. And
Thank
that
you
was
very
from
much.
I know, and that's from the University of California, San Diego. And then Anonymous, oh, do you have it out, Cathi? Anyway, I can get it off the shelf in a minute, but it came out to critical acclaim.
Elizabeth, you grab it so we can hold it up.
Yeah, sure.
And say it's right behind me, but I'm not going to unplug myself.
Right. Here we go.
Double Take. That's the second one. So we got Anonymous and Double Take, both lovely looking covers. And Double Take came out on October 12th. So it just came out.
Well, yeah, it hasn't come out yet, actually. Next week.
I know, but your podcast is going to air.
Of course. Duh.
That's okay. We fooled it. We try to fool it, everybody, but we're actually recording this before. Anyway, so she lives with her black Labrador named Hubert, who is her best friend, and we can see Hubert in the background on her screen. So Elizabeth, it's so nice to talk to you again.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, and you're excited, looking forward to your book coming out.
I am. I very much am. I have, especially since some things have opened up in California, so I'm actually getting to do some live book events.
Oh, good.
Anybody in Southern California, check out my website, elizabethbreck.com, under the events tab. And I'm doing 4 live in-person book events. Yeah, signing books and answering questions and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, well.
So Elizabeth, these are your first in-person events.
Too.
Yeah, I didn't hear what Christie said.
I was saying we're going to have to interview again next year just to find out how the in-person events went.
Yeah, and then Cathi, it is my first in-person events because, of course, my first book, Anonymous, came out in November 2020. So we were still just smack dab in the middle of the pandemic. No, we didn't have the vaccine. So we really couldn't do any events. So they were all virtual. So now we can do some in-person with masks and hopefully vaccinated. Yeah. So
fingers crossed.
So I guess you won't probably, be drinking wine like we are today. So
ta-da.
Yeah.
Well, cheers to Elizabeth.
You want to tell us a little bit about the wine?
Second, cheers. I will.
Because I just want to drink.
I chose a Pinot Grigio today. It's called Art of Earth. It's a organic Pinot Grigio from Italy, and it's very nice. It's very drinkable, which we like. And
it's a little tart.
Price point. Yeah, it's like mine was $12. And it does say it's an easy drinking, crisp Pinot Grigio that pairs with most anything, which I agree with. But I'm going to read you the tasting notes. I think they're a little bit over the top.
Okay.
Just in my humble opinion. Fruity aromas of apples and cream, glazed apricot tart, fruit cup, and coconut brittle with a silky crisp, dryish light body and a seamless crisp buttered toast, sliced lemons, and cashew finish. How many foods can you get into one tasting note?
Coconut and coconut brittle and toasted something.
Yeah.
Toasted, just toast.
Apples,
crispy buttered
apricot,
toast.
Coconut brittle, buttered toast, sliced lemons, and cashews. Now,
It's crazy. I taste the apple. How's that?
I will go with it's a nice, easy thing to drink. But I just,
Yeah.
when I saw that, I was like, okay, like kitchen.
Right. I know. Okay. So let's get into our questions. All right.
Yes.
So first and foremost, we want you to tell us a little bit about what your year has been like after your debut novel, Anonymous, came out, because, we know it's much different than if it was, pre-pandemic, but it's still, how did you handle promotion, writing, editing in the next book, etc.?
Yeah. So I'm trying now to remember, isn't it weird? Like when someone says it's been 18 or 19 months of the pandemic, you think, what?
I know.
Like it is unbelievable. I mean, it seems kind of like it's been a year, but
Right.
but not even that. And so it's hard for me to, because I know when Anonymous came out, I think I had finished Double Take. I think I had already finished it. And I had sent it, I'm pretty sure, to my editor. Yeah, because when I was doing these virtual book events and I was doing virtual book clubs with people, and they'd ask me about the book, I had Double Take in my head. I had just been working on it. So I would almost say things that were in Double Take because I was getting confused, because it was the one that was just in, it had been
Right.
a while since I had read Anonymous. So yeah, so so then of course there's the whole editing process with books that you go through, because you go through the editor with your editor, and then you've got the copy editor, and that goes back and forth 2 or 3 or 4 times. So it's really true. By the time you're done, you're like, I don't ever want to read this book again.
But I want you to.
Yeah, I want you to read it. You'll love it, but I don't want to read it again. Mostly because it's not that I don't mind reading it. It's that it's very exhausting to read something so closely, where you're looking for a typo, transposed letters, or something should have been a semicolon and it's a comma.
Right.
It's like it's exhausting to read something that closely. When you're just reading it for fun, it's just like scoop it up. I mean,
Right.
we've discussed, I have a very methodical way of writing, and my first draft is an Excel document where all the scenes are written out. And I do that so that I can keep the reader not wanting to put the book down. So, I'll going down scene, and then I'll be like, nothing exciting has happened. Let me put something really exciting right here. Or I'll be, have written out that whole first document, and then I'll go, this scene will be much better up here, because, so I write so that you guys do not want to put the book down, and you want to just.
And it works.
Okay, good. Glad to hear it. Yeah, and I was worried because, and then now I'm not worried, because I've heard from a lot of people that it was good, but Double Take is different from Anonymous in that it's more of a slow burn. Double Take, like you want to keep reading because you're into it, but Anonymous is like you're on the edge of your seat the whole time, I feel like. But with
Right.
Double
There's
Take,
more like danger versus I want to know what's going to happen.
exactly. So they're both, you want to keep reading, but they're just very different in how it worked. And whether I did that on purpose, not really. No, it's just the way it worked out.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
I wonder. Oh, go ahead, Cathi.
You go ahead, Christy.
I was just thinking, because often we see similarities between, or at least I do, between like Sue Grafton's books and how your books are going, and with the main character and stuff. And now I'm trying to remember back. Kathy's read a lot of Sue Grafton as well.
I've read all of them.
Did she have that sort of, some books were danger and some books were more like what's going to happen? Or
I think most of her books were kind of what's going to happen. There,
Right.
She wrote, in my opinion, classic mysteries
Right.
that are more like Agatha Christie.
Mhm.
And I started writing that way, but I discovered pretty quickly that we're in a time period where people like thrillers. They just
Right.
really like thrillers. So
Mhm.
I write, in my opinion, classic mysteries with thriller elements. So I call them thrilling mysteries,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
because I like the analytical process of a mystery
Mhm.
where you're like, okay, so then that happened as a reader, you
Right,
know,
right.
so that happened. Well, does that mean that's the guy? Or did, you know, and you're putting the clues together. Like, to me, that's a classic mystery. Whereas a thriller is like, you know, somebody's hanging off the edge of a building and there's bombs going off, or, you know, and I like classic mysteries better, in just for me, but
Mhm.
I throw those thriller aspects in so that I can have and my readers enjoy them when they like thrillers too.
Right. You know, that's
You-
it. I like how you said thrilling mystery,
Thrilling
because
mystery.
I've always, my book is sort of the same way, you know, and so when I was like getting ready to query and stuff, I would just call it a mystery thriller, but I like thrilling mystery
There
better.
you go. You can use it.
I
Yeah.
love that you're writing for your audience. You know what they want. And I think that one of the things that you did this time, and I was curious as an audience, as a reader of yours, I wanted to know more about um, Madison Kelly herself. And you went pretty deep in some relationship stuff, and her health stuff came back. And I was committed, like I was in. So I love that you've got the thrilling, and but you also went in pretty deep into her internal.
Yeah, thank you. And I think you or someone in a book club or something, no, it was a book club, last time had said they wanted to know more about Madison. They felt like they didn't get enough about Madison and
Mm.
Anonymous. And part of that is she is a bit of an enigma, and I want her that way. Like, I see
Mhm.
her as sort of the female version of Jack Reacher in the Lee
Mhm.
Child books. She's a loner, she's independent, she you know, she's a little antisocial, you know, and so I want to leave some of the mystery there. Like, I don't want everything out in the open, but at the same time, I always have a personal arc for her for the books. So there's the plot of the book, and then
Mhm.
what is Madison's arc for this book? So there was one for Anonymous, there was one for Double Take, and then there will be one in the third book. There'll be a personal arc. And I don't know if other authors do that. I don't know.
Well, some do apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I
do.
think I think they do to some of them do to an extent. I mean, like you think about like Harrybosch, you know,
Yeah.
you're kind of following
Right.
in their life, and they do
Yeah.
something in there, and there's a mystery and whatever, but then, you know, you're like, okay, he learned this about relationships, or he,
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, her I don't want to give anything away, but if readers have read the first one, you know that she deals with some cancer issues.
Right.
And I know we talked about, you had a lot of readers that read for that reason, so they could, a lot of them were identifying some pretty stealthy, cool stuff in a cancer survivor, right? I'm wondering, how was it received on the publishing end of things versus what the readers thought? Because I personally really liked reading about that intimate of a disease.
Hmm. Never heard a word. Literally never. I don't think the editor has ever commented at all. I mean, in Anonymous, you know, of course, I got, you know, I got a 2-book deal, so that was the first time I started working with the editor at Crooked Lane, and she said, I'm trying to think, she wanted more words. It wasn't long enough. And she said she wanted to more Madison. She wanted to have more Madison. So I wrote a lot more about her in that. And then when it came back, it was like, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. And I included in Anonymous, and I don't think I'm going to give anything away if I don't think it's, I've talked about it a lot, so I don't think I'm giving anything away. But in Anonymous, she while she's doing surveillance, she recalls a visit to the cancer center, and I added that after the editor said, I want more Madison. And what's interesting is I had already written it because in my at UC San Diego in the writing program, because I got a degree in writing, I had several different kinds of writing classes. You have fiction, you have nonfiction, you have travel writing, you have science writing. And for travel writing, for each class, you have to write 2 pages every week. It's a lot of writing. So for my travel writing class one week, I wrote about a trip to the cancer center. Even though it's not far, it's in San Diego. And that section of the book is the 2 pages that I wrote.
Wow.
So everything in that section really happened. That was me, except for a couple of exchanges, things said with the doctor. I invented that. But the people that she sees in the cancer center and she's describing, that actually happened. Those are really real people that I saw.
Wow.
I mean, it's almost word for word the paper I turned in that week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that worked
Good
out
thing
well.
kept your homework. That's
Yeah.
good.
and it shows more about Madison. I was thinking the other day about first person and third person writing. Do you guys write in first or third?
Third.
I do both.
I can't do first. I don't have the skill set.
Yeah. We'll see.
I started out with third, but then I switched to first because mine is a lot of YA, so.
Oh, okay. YA. Yeah. I actually think it's in my opinion, it requires more skill to write in third person because because you have to, as a narrator, be able to describe the feelings that somebody's having without being that person, So I think it's actually, I mean,
well, there's third person close,
Yeah. And writing is hard altogether.
Yeah.
So
Hard is hard.
What's easier or not, but in writing, I don't know why I just brought that up.
Maybe the way you wrote it.
Well,
yeah.
You know,
yourself.
While you think of why you brought it up, I just, before we get to our mid conversation question, Christy and I read a lot of mysteries and we read a lot of thrillers. All writers do. But there's always a challenge. The protagonist always has a challenge with mystery and thrillers. There's a lot of alcohol abuse or maybe some past drug abuse or some other issues. I just cannot recall ever seeing a protagonist deal with this intimate of a cancer and have the author writing about it so vividly. And I just really want to give you applause for that because I think it's
Thank you very much. And I will take it because it's hard to write about, especially since it's, by the way, P.S. it's me. I had breast cancer. I had the same, everything that happened to Madison happened to me. Let's just say that. So, and there's so much written about going through the process of cancer, which hooray, it used to be, we couldn't even say the word breast cancer,
right.
So I'm glad that we have that, but there isn't a lot talked about what happens when the cancer treatment's over and now you're going on with your life.
Well, and trying to be intimate with somebody or I don't know, trying to defend your life when you're also feeling that possibly your cancer might be back,
Exactly. Yeah.
Small things.
Yeah, just little things. So I thank you. I'll take it.
Awesome. Okay. Perfect segue. I don't know if you remember this, but we always ask the question in the bottle, which is a question you might, get to at the end of a bottle. And last year, Christy went and found the question we had last year for you.
Oh my gosh.
To make sure we didn't double up.
Okay. No, I'm not going to ask the same one because that might be funny. She might do a different answer this year. I don't know.
And I don't even remember what it was. So
we'll tell you after this.
Okay.
So this question is, what's your favorite smell?
Wow. That was like instantaneous. Like you
Okay.
almost hadn't finished the L sound.
Really?
Yeah. So this must be the answer. Lavender.
Okay. Lavender.
Yeah.
Very
Mm.
And if I
good.
had thought about it, I think I might have said vanilla,
Mhm.
but it was so instantaneous that has to be my answer.
Yeah,
Another
definitely.
a friend's reference when Phoebe played that game of like, okay, which do you want to do, this or this? And you have to answer really fast. I love Friends.
Mhm.
Anyway, so I always have a Friends reference.
We do
But yeah, so you asked me that and immediately I thought lavender. And it's true, I have lavender everything, lavender sprays, lavender smells, lavender oils everywhere.
Well, that's
Okay,
good because it's
We're
very
going to send you a
calming as
link
well.
to an episode we recorded with Lisa Reagan a few weeks ago.
No,
for
was it Lisa Reagan? I thought it was Heather. Oh yeah, maybe it was Lisa.
I
It
thought
was Lisa. Yeah,
I'm gonna
you're
have to go
probably right.
look because it's not really in the podcast. It's in the beginning. We'll have to look at either Heather Chavez or Lisa Reagan. I always think it was Lisa, but her
Yeah, you're
husband,
probably right because my brain
Her-
is
her
mush.
entire office, the Friends wall purple, including the outdoor of the actual door. It's not a door. It's just in her
Yeah,
wall.
it's Lisa.
Okay.
Our sound director is confirming that Cathi is correct.
Okay.
It's really
Okay.
cool.
So there's another Friends
I
fanatic.
have
Not
lots of friends.
Yes,
fans.
Lisa Reagan. She's another author. So if you ever
Yeah.
run across her,
okay.
Yeah.
and
Also, a
yeah,
Friends fan.
yeah.
Okay.
She
Good.
lives in like Baltimore, I think, or somewhere about that.
Okay, so you alluded to this earlier, Elizabeth, that you and I have a shared love affair of organization and planning and Excel spreadsheets.
Yes.
I did remember this from last year, and I'm a huge fan. So my question to you is, how do you organize your editing?
Organize it. Well, so the first draft, in quotes, is the Excel document that
Mhm.
has every character on one page, every attribute, everything I've said about them, their addresses, what they're wearing, everything. So I never have to try and figure it out later, 250 pages in. What did I say her address was? So, and then I've got the page that has every single scene on it. And then I'll have another scene that has, like, for example, a timeline, a specific timeline, if I need to know a specific timeline of something that happened. And so when I'm editing that, I'm going through and reordering the scenes and I'm literally figuring out what I know how many pages each scene will be. So I'm adding the scenes as I go. So I know by the end that I'll have enough pages, I'll have enough words in the book. So I know how many words a particular scene is going to take, I'll estimate. And then I'll go, okay, I'm at page 50 and nothing exciting has happened. So the scene that I was going to put down here is now going up here. So I reorganized that whole thing. And it's really, it was from going to school and running my own business at the same time, trying to get straight A's, which I did, we know. So I didn't have time to mess around. I can't write a whole section and then throw it out. I can't do it. I don't have time. So that's why I do that in such an orderly fashion. So then when it's all done and I know this is my book, this is exactly my book,
Wow.
then I sit down and I write 4,000 to 5,000 words a day. Just next scene, next scene.
Okay, so wait, you estimate how many pages or words?
Words.
A chapter will be words.
Same thing though, because double spaced 250 words per page.
Yeah. Wow. That's really specific.
It's really specific. Yes. Because I want to make sure that I have a long enough book.
You had to experience writing for a while before you could estimate that, couldn't you? Don't you?
It's funny. I made it to age 46 without a bachelor's degree. I had a successful business, didn't need to go to college. Okay. It helps that both my parents had master's degrees and were teachers. So, I didn't just come out of somewhere, I was educated just from having my parents, but that college degree in writing, it was invaluable.
It's
And
training, right?
oh, it
Wow.
was amazing. And especially having to work full time. So I knew that like I have to turn in 2 pages every week to every class. There's more than one class. So, I'm doing 8 to 12 pages a week, plus working. And so I know how many words are on a page because of that. You see, because I know it has to be 2 pages. And so I know there's 250 words on one double spaced page. So that was my education. So then when I went, I would say the first book, I might not have been as accurate with estimating the words in the Excel document, but by double take, I was very accurate.
Wow.
Yeah, in estimating it.
This last weekend, I just took a class with KJ Howe on pacing. And she talks about that, how she knows every scene, how long it's going to be. So it fits in with the pacing plan that she had.
Exactly.
That appealed to my, this appeals to my soul.
That's why I do it.
It's a hard thing. I know.
I do it for that exact reason, that I want the
so
pacing
unorganized.
to be good. And I want page 1, the reader can't put it down after page 1, because that's me. I mean,
that's what you have to do,
Yeah, and I've read 10,000
book.
mysteries. I don't know. I literally have no idea how many mysteries I've read. But when we used to have bookstores, we have bookstores, go to the bookstore. I would go in, and my favorite thing to go to the mystery aisle and pick up a book and read the first page. And if it got me, I bought the book.
That's how it works, right?
I know now as a writer, I have to do that. And then I make sure 5 pages, 25 pages, 50 pages, that there's something happening that the person's not going to want to put the book down. Yep. But what that allows, because it sounds so clinical, what that allows is I love to write lyrically. I love to write beautiful poetic sentences. There's a sentence in Double Take that now I'm going to have to paraphrase because I don't have it written down. But I'm trying to think if I want to give that away. I don't think I do, but so I don't think I'm going to say it. But the essence is Madison. We haven't said what the book is about, so why don't I do that really quick, and then that will. So Madison gets hired by the boyfriend of a young female journalist to find her because she's missing. She's been missing for 5 days. He feels like the police are blowing him off. They're like, dude, she's ghosting you. Girls sometimes don't want to talk to guys anymore. Get over it. And he's like, no, you don't understand. She's missing. So he hires Madison, and she almost immediately identifies with the missing girl whose name is Barrett. She's a journalist. She's driven in her career. She's independent. She's ambitious. She's a loner. And Madison, part of what she's thinking, and this was the lyrical part I was referencing, is who would look for me if I were lost? You see, and that's, to me, it's a poetic question. And so she, as she is trying to find this girl, she realizes that she's been Barrett, the journalist, was chasing the story of a lifetime. And it's like it was the story that's going to break her career. I mean, break it out and make her famous. Yeah. And Madison has to walk in her footsteps to figure out what happened to her. But as she does that, is she walking into the thing that happened to Barrett? Right. So that's the story. And then that just brings us back to that lyrical thing of who would look for me if I were lost. I like to write lyrically, but I write thrilling mysteries, and there isn't a lot of time for beautiful sentences. We got to keep it going. We got to keep the pace going. We need exciting things happening. So doing the Excel document in the beginning allows me to make sure the pacing is there, make sure the exciting points are there, so that when I sit down to write the scene, now I can just write pretty sentences.
Yeah.
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 I mean, this book is a perfect example of, just because you're organized, I'm not sure what that was. Just because you're organized and you're planning does not mean it is a boring read by any means.
Right.
Right. No.
And
I mean,
I
and
will
that is a
test.
good way to write
Yeah.
if I could do it. And, I mean, I can do it on a small scale, but not the whole book. But when like when I get to the end and I'm like, okay, this has to happen, this has to happen, this has to happen. So I do have sort of a plan.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Then it's much more fun because I know where it's going and I don't have to think, oh, but that's just not how I'm wired, for the most
Yeah.
part. So,
I really loved how Madison was identifying herself in Barrett, in this victim that she was looking for, this missing
Yeah.
woman, but also was trying to step back, like and I just thought that was such a real kind of push and pull, where she was like completely identified and like, oh wait, this is scary. I just thought that was
right.
good.
Well,
And this was, by the way, this
speaking
is a
of,
24-hour read for me.
Oh,
For sure.
wow. Thank you. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I mean,
yep.
not because I
And
was down to the
actually read
wire,
it
because I
when
wanted
you
to.
sent
Yeah.
it. So I was like, oh, I got to reread most of it right now because I wanted to make sure I got the right lyrics in there.
Yeah.
But my question is, you mentioned you've got a third book, so I guess Madison, we're going to learn more about Madison. So in the future, we've got more Madison.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Yes. Madison is, she's, and, the cast of characters, it's the thing I like as a reader. When you pick up the next book in a series and the same cast of characters are there, it's like you
Mhm.
find your friends, there's my friend,
Mhm.
Right.
it's comforting, as a reader to see the same people.
Right.
So yes, the same people will be there.
Great. So
Including the surfing
now-
community.
Yes.
Which I
Right.
love.
Yes. And so this is something that I've been wondering, especially for people who are writing series like this. Are you going to incorporate the pandemic in it at all in
Good
your
question.
series, or do you think you should?
You know what's
or not?
funny is I've looked on Twitter. So I'm on writing Twitter,
Mhm.
I spend a lot of time on Twitter, and there's a lot of other authors on Twitter. And I have seen almost universally, nobody wants to write about it. And I would have thought that there would have been some discussion or some, well, on the other hand, but I've seen just a couple people that said, well, I'm writing such and such, and, and it fits in my subject matter or what have you, but almost universally, I've seen nobody wants to write about it, and I don't want to write about it.
It makes it so limited in time. But I got to tell you, I'm reading right now Karen Slaughter's last book, and she incorporates it in there.
Oh, she does?
Yeah. It was like, and it was at a time I think is maybe pre-vaccination,
Mm-hmm.
but it had been going on for a while. So it was a parent and talking about going into the auditorium, the mass, whatever. I was just surprised, but
Yeah, I mean, and it's weird because now we just, we're 19 months or 18 months or something, and who thought it was going to go this long? Nobody
Right.
thought. It's become a part of our lives. I don't think it's ever going in my lifetime away. It might hopefully become like the flu,
Right.
where we can just be careful and, not die of it. But I just don't want to write about it. I don't want to live it. I don't want to live it. And I don't want to read about it
Right.
either.
Yeah, and she really doesn't delve much into it. That was the thing. It was kind of like,
because I feel like if you put it in, you have to go all in.
yeah.
Mhm.
Then it's like, where's my mask as someone's leaving the house?
Mhm.
Right.
Walking into a store, oh, I forgot my mask.
Yeah.
Expressions on people's faces, you can't
Mhm.
see them because they have masks on, and you can't do
It is
stuff.
interesting. It is interesting reading, a thriller like that with that in there, because it's just like it's just a little bit, it's the same with technology as it comes along. You're like,
Right.
should
It
I,
changes
I
things.
wish I didn't have to, have
I mean-
texting. Now I've got to have texting.
I mean, look at Kinsey Millhone.
I was just going to say,
Yeah.
think if Sue Grafton had cell phones. Like that would have just been.
Well, yeah, she left Kinsey in the 80s. And
Mhm.
for me as a private investigator, that was difficult for me to stick with her. So I stopped reading because
Mhm.
everything's on computer now. So it was unrealistic to me. And
Mhm.
so much that it became not as fun to read for me.
Right.
What was fun is how realistic it was. But I could see a reader going, why is this book not mentioning, the pandemic? I could totally see that. But especially since it's like literally part of our lives and probably never going away. But I just, at this point, I don't want to. I mean, I don't know. Maybe my editor will be like, where's the pandemic?
Put some masks on.
Yeah. I don't know.
I have read one book that dealt with the pandemic. Daniel Silva's, he changed his entire last ending to the cellist.
Oh,
Insurrection. And I've actually read articles about the amount of pushback he's gotten from readers and how many really weird, out of characteristic reviews. And I don't know if it's people
like they didn't like it.
Read that. I don't know.
Well, the other thing I was
well, the reviews, I'm sorry, like they didn't like it.
He got a lot of low reviews, and even a bestseller for for weeks and weeks, and then probably still is on number one on the New York Times bestseller list. But there was a lot of people weighing in on the politics of how he wrote about January 6th.
Oh,
and so
and I didn't even think of that, you guys.
I know
there's politics
so you have to
with regard to the pandemic. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm really not including it.
Yeah.
Because I don't need to.
Well, yeah, because he's my favorite read, and he gets great reviews, always number one, and it just was really interesting to see this huge chunk of 1 stars on Amazon, and the belief that it was the politics of it, and I just thought, that's a different thing. Yeah.
But another thing that I heard, and this relates to what you were talking about earlier, people are being more drawn to the traditional, more mystery, less thriller, because, hey, life's thrilling enough. I want an escape.
It's true.
So that'll be good for Madison Kelly too,
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you'll know there's a little bit, because it's thrilling.
Yeah,
but
it is thrilling in parts. It's scary.
But there's very, very little blood and guts.
Right.
Violence. It's off the page. The violence is off the page for the most part, because that to me makes a classic mystery. And I'm the same way. Like I have I'm an clearly I'm an A-type personality, and I don't need more stress from what I'm reading.
Yeah. Okay. This has been so fun. I'm thinking we could just keep doing this for the longest time, but Christy has a final question for you, Elizabeth.
Yes. And I'm going to, this is a little different because it's Corks in Conversation too. So this question is, if you had to choose one of your characters to be your personal chef, who would you choose and why?
Let's see. That's hilarious. My personal chef, Elizabeth Breck's personal chef, not Madison's personal chef. Okay. That's so strange. Well, probably Dave, because just to have him in the house.
That's what I was thinking.
Isn't there an obvious answer here, Elizabeth?
Yeah. I don't need to eat the food.
Not about the food.
Yeah. We can order in.
Yeah, there you go.
And for the people that don't understand, who haven't read my books, Dave is Madison's on again, off again surfer boyfriend. He has 2 black belts, 1 in Kung Fu, 1 in karate. He's a champion surfer. He's in the Wind and Sea Surf Club, which is the surf club in La Jolla. And he is very handsome, and he's as strong as Bam Bam.
Yeah.
So it's important to Madison, because Madison is almost 6 feet tall, and he can pick her up.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he's he wouldn't be a bad personal chef to have around.
Right.
No.
Okay,
just
so you
make me
mentioned
peanut
you're on
butter
Twitter.
sandwiches.
How can your readers find you? What's the best way to reach out to you?
So the best way is my website, elizabethbreck.com. There is a contact form on there, and I answer right away because I get an email. And then it also has the little symbols for my social media. So you click on the symbol and it'll take you to the social media. And it has links to buy the book. So you could buy the first book or the second book. And let me say, as of yesterday, they are doing a deal to help people catch up. So Anonymous is $1.99, the ebook on Amazon and on Apple Books.
Oh, that's
Awesome.
a great deal.
Yeah. So for $1.99, you can catch up so that when Double Take is out and ready, which it should be by the time you're hearing this, then you will have been caught up. So
Yay.
That sounds great. Yes. And we'll have all the links on our website too, to Elizabeth's website and everything. But this has been a lot of fun.
Oh, it's been so great to catch up with
I
you
know.
again.
I'm glad we got to
talk to you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know you got a busy evening, but we really enjoyed you taking the time.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thanks.
Congratulations on your success and cheers to you.
Oh, yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Hey.